I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you all lovely things that start like once upon a time there was this very happy, very mischievous little girl in Poland. I don't have the good memories of a happy childhood. I don't remember those. What I do remember is my father was a chemist. I remember one day the house was broken into. My father was arrested. I was 4 at the time. And then I remember my father being dragged onto the very sharp stones, blood trailing behind, and was hanged. It was a public execution by hanging.
Let's say Denmark, France, Belgium, Holland, within 2 weeks countries were occupied. They had lightning wars, and yet the heroic Warsaw Ghetto uprising lasted actively for 4 weeks, plus it lingered on a little bit. And believe me, it was a suicidal act. And there was a very small group that tried to get away from it through the sewer system of Warsaw. And some of them, when they emerged onto the safe area outside of the ghetto, within the sewer system, they opened up the manhole, and there was some people waiting for them, denouncing him to the Germans. And for that act, they were rewarded with 5 pounds of sugar. The end result was that I would say that probably 90% of the Jewish people of the city of Warsaw, of the country of Poland actually, were murdered.
There's a painting here called Lost My Name, because in concentration camp you had no name. You had a number. They shaved your head and lost my name. This is a burning barn, and I will tell you the story of the burning barn. I heard a survivor say that when the Nazis occupied their little town, not a big town, a little town, they took all the Jews, children and men and whoever was there, and put them in the barn and lit the barn. And the Nazis stood there with German shepherds, made sure that nobody runs out of there. That is the burning barn.
We got a piece of bread a day for the 4 of us. We were hungry like this for a couple of years. You talk about what we had. We had lice, bed bugs, fleas. We had no toilet tissue. We had no towels. We had no soap, no bathing. And this, we're talking 3.5, 4 years. Fast forward, the war is over, and all the Polish citizens were permitted to return home. They supplied us with kettle cars. After traveling for weeks, we come to the first station in Poland. We were greeted with jeers. Żydy nazad, Żydy do Palestiny. Dirty Jew, go back or go to Palestine. They didn't want their citizens, their Polish, Jewish citizens, to return back to Poland. We could not return to our homes.
Forgiveness is a key to move on, and everyone has their struggles, and that doesn't mean one person has a struggle that's more important than the other, but it's definitely something that's really hard to learn, and I really appreciate my new friend, my survivor, for coming out here, and especially every single kid that came out here that's supporting all of us, because without them here right now, it could happen again, and this is like one of the last generations to give us all part of their life, and since it's part of their life, now it's part of our life to carry on this amazing tradition to stop anything like this from happening again. So I'm really fortunate to be here.
Being here today, it really moved me and it made it real, because it's one thing to read it in the books, watch the movies, but to actually sit down and talk to someone who actually been through it, suffered, lost basically their whole family, it's really moving to me. And we had, I guess, a essay writing contest, and I'm going to Washington, D.C. to go see the Holocaust Museum.
And there are people today, there are kids today saying, this is in the past, this is years past, why should we learn this? Why is this important? This isn't important, and they're wrong. This lives on with all of us. Me as a person and this generation as a generation should understand that the past can be repeated. They should understand this. I've seen it happen. As someone from a war family, I have seen things. I've seen the past come back in several ways. So to see these people living and alive, their stories being alive with here today is just amazing.
My survivor, she's wonderful. And I just think that the key is to educate. And a lot of kids aren't lucky enough to have Holocaust classes at their school or anything like that. But I think we just need to keep telling these stories and passing them down so that nothing like this happens again.
My survivor, Mr. George Salton, his story, it just touched me. Because being separated from his parents, from his brother, having gone through multiple concentration camps, and to be liberated, is a struggle that us teenagers now can't comprehend. It's not what you walk away from, it's what you walk away with. Don't let the situation shape you, such as my sponsor did. He took that situation and he made the best out of it. He wrote a book. He became successful. He didn't let that situation change him. And it's just amazing.
1.5 million children were murdered, not killed, but murdered in the Holocaust. And this was the future of so many people. And you are the future here right now. When one sees enmity, when we see hate, the worst thing we can do is to remain silent. That's the worst thing. When you see a kid being bullied, when you see somebody saying, don't play with another kid because of a race or religion, and if you remain silent, then you are as guilty as the bully. You have to speak up, because the dangerous thing during the Holocaust was that so many people stood by and did nothing. And remember, if you meet a survivor, you yourself become a survivor. Tell the story, what you heard today, to your friends, to your parents, to other people. And this is how this thing will go on. Remember, silence is the worst thing in the world. And I thank you all for being here.